Just about every motorcycle was a joy to ride on the first day, but what about after 2 years and 10,000 miles? This is where Zero Motorcycles starts pulling ahead. I got my Zero SRF in December of 2019. Since then, my only costs have been insurance and electricity, plus some extras that I've added to the motorcycle. In fact, when I'm traveling, a lot of my fuel costs have ended up being free. That's because so many of the level 2 chargers in Florida are still free these days. The bike has been problem-free. The only maintenance I've done is put air in the tires and do the customary checks from time to time, like taking a look at the belt. I've got a new set of tires on order, which will mark my first visit to the dealer for service since buying the Zero. Although I'll be switching to Michelin Road 5 tires, I've been perfectly happy with the Pirelli Diablo Rossos it came with. At 10,000 miles, there's still tread left. The Diablos have held up better than I would have guessed. Once I put the bike in the shop for a tire swap, the dealer will also be doing a cruise control recall service, although I've had no issues. They'll also be performing a rear rotor bolts torque check, which Zero also recommended in a separate recall notice. And that's basically it. The rest has been nothing but fun. For those of you that haven't tried an electric motorcycle yet, you're missing out. By now you've heard all the stories and seen the videos about the never-ending torque, and once you've experienced it, you'll probably never want to go back. That combined with the SRF's handling, anti-lock brakes, and Bosch stability control makes it a grin-inducing experience at every turn. The first question I always get about my SRF is how far will it go? My short answer? About 100 miles. The more detailed answer is the longest ride I've done between charges so far has been 116 miles with less than 5% of charge left, and the farthest I've ridden in a single day is 258 miles. Except for commuting, I tend to stay away from the interstates. For pleasure riding, I prefer secondary roads whenever possible, which has the added benefit of increasing range. Zero estimated 99 miles at 55 miles per hour and 82 miles at 70. Since buying my Zero, I've made a few modifications. I've added 2 sets of LED turn signal bulbs with built-in resistors, an MRA windshield, along with a Corbin seat, which was made in Hollister, California, which is just about an hour from Zero's Santa Cruz factory. I also installed a set of ROX risers, which made a big comfort difference for longer rides. For anyone interested in the details on the risers, I'll link the video at the end of this one. One of the things I first did after buying the bike was installed Zero's OEM luggage rack designed by Shad, along with a top box to go with it. I've been happy with the Zero's build quality, with 2 exceptions. Occasionally when I'm riding the bike in the rain or after I've washed it, there'll be a little condensation in the gauge cluster. It'll dry out, no big deal, but on a high-end bike like this, it's not something I would expect to see. The Shad rack also missed getting a top-notch quality control mark. One of the bolts didn't fit properly, forcing me to make a trip to the hardware store. For anyone considering adding a rack, I'd recommend instead going with the SRS model's rear rack system, which is much more attractive and will also give you a larger passenger seat. In terms of what I'll be doing next to the bike, I've ordered Zero's lower foot peg kit from the SRS, so I'll have a slightly less aggressive leg stance. I'm also planning to buy Zero's software unlock that will up my charging speed to 7 kilowatts per hour. So, would I recommend the SRF? Yes, but with the caveat that I'll get to soon. I cross-shopped my SRF against Harley-Davidson's LiveWire and Energica's Eva Rebelle. The Harley was knocked out of the running fast due to its crazy high price, about $30,000 at the time, and by its lack of level 2 speed charging. Since then, Harley has spun off the LiveWire into its own brand and made the price much more competitive, but it's also pulling the bike out of most Harley dealers and didn't fix the lack of level 2 charging. I did seriously consider an Energica, but frankly, I preferred the styling on the SRF. I also preferred its lighter weight, its quieter belt drive, and the fact that it was assembled right here in America. Despite being electric, both the Energica and LiveWire use fossil fuel-based lubricants. Fellow YouTuber Sam Baker did a demo oil change on his Energica Ego.
Not too hard, just takes forever, just taking off all the fairings and plastics and finding all the bolts and torquing and whatever. It's not too bad. But if there's a dealership nearby, just have them do it. It's such pain.
A link to Sam's video is in the YouTube description field and in the post at evrider.tv. Thankfully, at least from my perspective, Zero went with an air-cooled design for its bikes. For anyone considering an electric motorcycle, my advice, study up on your region's charging options before buying. Regardless of what EV motorcycle you choose, there are compromises. Zero has far and away the fastest Level 2 charging available in the industry at the time of this video's publication. But if you're planning to do a lot of long-distance interstate riding, then the LiveWire or the Energica might be a better option, since they both come with Level 3 CCS charging, which Zero still wasn't offering at the time of this video's publication. Unfortunately, the perfect bike that includes high-speed versions of both types of charging doesn't exist yet in showrooms. The new Zeros are offering bigger batteries with up to 113 miles of range on the interstate, while the Energicas have made significant strides in getting their weight down. The 2022 Eva Rebel weighs 573 pounds, while a SRF weighs 500 pounds. But the Rebel comes with a standard 21.5 kilowatt-hour battery. Zero offers a 20.9 kilowatt-hour power tank option. Zero doesn't list the weight on the power tank, but I'd guess it probably hikes the weight to about 545 pounds, given the unofficial Zero manual website listed a power tank for a Zero DS as weighing 45 pounds. Objectively, I can't fully recommend the SRF over its competitors due to its lack of CCS charging. But subjectively, I preferred the SRF. The good news, there's finally a decent range of choices out there for every motorcyclist to at least consider an EV. And for me, the SRF topped my list. If you have any questions about my SRF that I have failed to answer in this video, let me know in the YouTube comments and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And if you've enjoyed this episode of EV Rider, please give it a like and subscribe so I can continue to bring you more EV adventures and reviews, along with the people and places in Florida.